welcome to Short 10 Serms, where you receive a message in 10 minutes or less. Today's message we're going to discuss is coming from Spring of Life Couples Ministry by Pastor Eric and Nancy Matondo. We took this boat ride a few months back and enjoyed this wonderful message on marriage agility. So I decided to do a short video and post it and give you guys a little summation in 10 minutes or less of the message. All right, it's called marriage agility. Marriage agility. Let's get into it. Pastor Eric started out with a statement. It was a quote actually from Alvin Toffler. Said, "The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn." Three key words we're going to talk today about is 1, learn, 2, unlearn, 3, relearn. What is the definition of learn? This is number 1. The definition of learn means to gain or acquire knowledge or skill in something by study, experience, or being taught. In John 8:32 says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free." Amen. John 8:32 says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free." In order to know the truth, you have to learn. When you learn, things happen. In marital issues, we tend to have a learning issue. In marital issues, we tend to have a learning issue, not a marital issue. If we are set free by knowledge, then our problem is to learn. If we are set free by knowledge, then our problem is to learn. Ephesians 1:18 says, "I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened, in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you, the riches of his glorious inheritance in his holy people." All right, as we learn, something happens to us. And what happens? Change. Change is the definition of change is the act or the instance of making or becoming different. As we learn, something happens to us. Change is the only constant in life. Change is the only constant in life. The question is not if, but when. Change means growth opportunities. If you do not create change, change will create you. What is a direct result of change? We just talked about it. Agility. Agility is being able to adapt and adjust. So what is the definition of agility? In the dictionary, it states the definition of agility is the ability to move quickly and easily. Pastor Eric spoke about him and his first experience on a motorcycle. His first experience on a motorcycle was terrifying because, number 1, he was not in control. He was a passenger. And being a passenger on the back of a motorcycle, if you've ever ridden on a motorcycle, is pretty terrifying, especially if you're not the one riding. So, what was terrifying for him? The ability to balance. The ability to balance. Agility requires balance. When moving in a straight line together, balance is present. But here's where the problem comes in. By making turns, that's when problem starts. When you're making turns, because the rider is going to the left, and the automatic response for you is to fight that. All right. In life, there's a lot of turns. There's a lot of twists and turns. There's some examples that he spoke about. Number 1, a change in your vision, your personal vision, your family vision. Having a child. Having a child is a big change. Going back to school. Having kids. Having children and going back to school again. It can be tough. It can be rough. I know personally, I can tell you about that. Or anything that takes you out of balance or whack. When making turns in life, you have to find a balance. Guess what takes you out, puts you right back into balance? Date night. As a couple, I cannot emphasize on how important date night is. Date night's a good tool for balance. This time is for reset. It's a reset for couples to learn to love each other again. He gave perfect examples of learning to love each other. The message will be posted. All right. Requirements for agility. What is a requirement for agility? Number one, speed. Number two, adaptability or adjustability. Number three, evaluation and assessment. Number four, strength and courage. Number five, coordination. Pastor Eric goes into a little bit more details on these on the requirements. All right, so let's move on from number one to number two. Number one was learn. Number two, let's talk about unlearn. In Romans 12:2 says, and be not conformed to this world. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Romans 12:2 says, and be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Why do we need to unlearn? To be transformed, you have to forsake certain thoughts, values, to acquire new ones. When we learn, things change. Time has changed. You do not have the same faith that you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. It is different. Circumstances have changed. Traditions have changed. And 1 Peter says, knowing that you were not redeemed with corruptible things like silver and gold from aimless conduct received by traditions from your father, but with the precious blood of Christ, as of a lamb without blemish and spot. Without blemish and spots, we are redeemed with the blood of Jesus Christ. Like a computer program, you have to uninstall, reinstall, or even update. Emotional agility was also mentioned. It refers to the ability to go through a range of experiences and emotions, both easy and difficult ones, yet still choosing to act according to the values. This is a quote from Susan David. All right, so we talked about learn, we talked about relearn. We talked about learn, unlearn. Now we're about to talk about the final one, which is relearn. Definition of relearn is to learn something again. To learn something again. What do you do when the methods that worked to get you to where you were today does not longer work to keep you in place? How do you adapt? In Luke 5:37 says, and no one puts new wine into old wineskins, or else new wine will burst the wineskins and be spilled, and the wineskins will be ruined. What do you need to learn? What do you need to relearn? Because you lost focus. Where's your first love? Losing focus on God it takes you and puts you into a terrible, terrible place. Where is your first love? We need to relearn to love God. Number one, we need to relearn to love our spouse. Why do we need to relearn? Because you did not learn well the first time. Why do we need to relearn? Because your potential has increased. The potter does not dispose of clay. If you know about pottery or the movie Ghost, the potter does not discard the clay. What does he do? He reworks it. He makes it again. So, in closing, I know this is a short summation. I want you to visit Spring of Life Couples Ministry. The link will be posted below. The pastors for this ministry is Eric and Nancy Matundo. And please, if you got something out of this short message, please post it. Please share it. Hope you have a blessed day.